All right, good to see everybody. Haven't been together since our last outing. We were open last week, and today we're kind of Monday, but the Thursday games, so we're kind of middle of prep. But going back to UAB, because we really hadn't spoken since then, so hitting that one again. Poor start, a couple games in a row for sure. That pass defense continues to struggle. Kick coverage continues, especially our punt team coverage was very, very poor. Thought the guys continued to battle and played hard through the second half. Again, we got some injury issues that got us in a couple spots, getting thin, O-line, secondary, et cetera. But some guys, young guys are playing. I think in last year's 27 class, we had 25 of those guys on the trip last week, and the two guys that didn't travel would have played. They were just injured. One guy was sick. So a lot of young guys are playing. So we got some, we're battling through that. Still like the guys the way they're practicing. Good vibe with our crowd. I think our coaches are doing a good job. We got, I think, a really strong opponent. The way East Carolina's coming in, they're playing with a lot of good energy. Played well the last few weeks, so we got a big challenge Thursday night here at home against the Pirates. So, but we got to continue to get better. Last week with open date week, and we've had, week 10, week 11, by the time you count the open dates. Didn't really try by any means increase volume, try to take a lot off our older players as far as the amount of time, trying to keep them fresh, engaged, but not we've got a lot of improvement and corrections that need to happen, but to go out and just practice and physically wear our team out did not make sense. We had some good work on last, played the game Saturday, reviewed it on Sunday with our team. Practice Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Thursday kind of transitioned into the opponent. Tuesday, Wednesday, a lot of young guy, a lot of fundamental work. Then we practiced Saturday and Sunday, kind of like it would be game week with the game being Thursday. Today should be a Wednesday. Like I'm all screwed up on days. I almost forgot to come over because it's Wednesday or it's Tuesday. But really, it's Wednesday. But really, we had to do Wednesday yesterday on Sunday, because today with classes, we can't practice in the afternoon. We have to have an evening practice. So we're a day ahead. We had some good practice over the weekend. Went Saturday morning, went yesterday afternoon. Had a lot of good recruits on campus, which was awesome. Took advantage of that. Sometimes that's actually better than game days because you get them in your meetings and around your team. So had some good recruits here. Had a good weekend. We need to finish our preparation strong. And again, with 3 games left, need to win all 3 to stay in potential for bowl possibilities. We need to play very, very well because East Carolina's playing really good football these last few weeks. So we got a strong test with us coming in Thursday night. So questions?
Questions? Michael. So Anthony Watkins didn't play against UAB. What is his status?
I don't think he's healthy. I didn't maybe practice maybe as well as some of the other guys. Just, he came back. I thought he's practiced well this past week. But in general, we got just trying to keep everybody engaged. I think Coach Spurrier was kind of Coach Spurrier's call. I even after the game said, hey, what was Anthony? And he said he just didn't think he'd practice well. I do think he had a good week last week. We didn't overdo a lot. He looked very good in practice Saturday, Sunday. All those guys are healthy. By any man, I know he wants to finish well. He did last year. He played really good down the stretch, and he did practice well. But I think sometimes, when you're an older guy, maybe it's not going as well. You can get a little moody, a little funky, and we're trying to work as hard as we can. As I keep telling the coaches, we got to lead these guys, but we got to find positive ways to lead, even positive when you're not getting the results you want. And a part of positive leading is you got to uphold the standard. So sometimes it's correction, but it's an optimistic correction of here's what you need. So, I don't think there's been any issues, but I don't think he practiced as well as the other guys. Byron, I think, was our leading rusher as a freshman, had his best outing. And, of course, Lloyd's played well, Billy Jack. So all 4 of those guys are still our main guys. They're all practicing, and they've had a good week. And we do need to run the ball better. We're doing okay in the running game, but we need to be better. No one has really separated themselves as being our featured guy right now. So he should be in the mix, and you should see him this week.
Are you getting anybody back in your secondary that didn't play?
Close. I think Elijah Green's been finally getting back to some work. He just had a slight muscle pull, and he had played well. So we'll see if we can get him back. I mean, he still has missed a bunch, so I don't know what the volume can be. We were out. Tyree Carlisle was in concussion protocol and kind of taking some time there. He tried to play last week. I don't know if he should have, but he was cleared. So he still has some. We've been without DJ Jones and Keywan. They're back practicing. So we didn't come out of that game losing anyone, and we're getting some guys healthy. And that was part of last week. We didn't necessarily take time off, but the older guys like Dane Hodge or Malachi or Miles or Gavin Potter didn't do as much work, so we could kind of get some guys fresher and everybody's practicing right now. So we're as healthy as we've been, but it would be good to get some of those secondary guys back because we've been getting picked on back there for sure.
Have you made any adjustments to your quarterback situation over the off week?
No, I do think the last couple of days Kirk has looked really good and just kind of looks like himself again. I think again, he was injured coming out of the West Point game and tried to play against Temple and again took a lot of hits in that game. So I just thought even like yesterday afternoon in our practice he looked sharper, made some throws. Quite honestly, I don't know if I'd seen since preseason as far as the velocity and all that. Just saw him this morning, talked to him, man, you kind of look like yourself. So I think he had taken some hits and kind of battled a little bit of injury, maybe a little bit of some confidence per se. And but he's looked well, and it's kind of him and Cooper right now, to tell you the truth. And we'll kind of, I don't know if we're playing both. I don't really have not gotten that far. Just kind of waiting to see how they both have practiced. They both have looked good in practice, and those are the two guys we'll kind of ride with. And Timmy played a little bit last game. We'll see how that goes. He's got a redshirt possibility, but I don't know what redshirting is now because I think we're potentially about a year away from giving everybody a 5-year window. Mm-hmm. So I think with all these guys that are opting out to get a next year somewhere else, why don't we just say you got 5 years? You got 5 years to graduate, 5 years to play. That's not official yet, but I think there's a chance in the next 1 or 2 voting cycles that maybe the red shirt's no longer there and you got 5 years of college eligibility, which would help us all. The 4-game thing was pretty good, but now you got guys playing games and you're sitting as a coach, are you in or out? It's like week 4 or 5, every team in the country's got guys tapping on the door saying, I don't want to play, and that's really not good for your team. So, Timmy has played in 2 games. There's 3 left. We just put him in at the end of that game, like how many times we're going to get and shoot the 2 times he's been in, he took us down the field. We were just trying to give him a little experience and have him grow, and he's looked well. So, we're kind of getting him warmed up a little bit too.
Would you anticipate him playing any in more meaningful time in the 2 games that you play him, if that's what
the
you
way the
decide
other
to do?
2 guys have practiced right now? I think we kind of go with the vets. Not trying to save Tim. We're trying to do everything we can to win the game. Every decision we've made between who would start or who went first or how, we just thought that was the best case. I think right now, initially, I would have said when we came out last game, we'll start with Coop. I think the way Kirk has practiced, it's kind of intriguing. And we're kind of, today's kind of the last real practice day, and then you kind of plus. I think we'll go through today and actually go through tonight with this evening's practice and see how the guys look and make our decisions from there. And like I say, I have been impressed with Tim, and we'll keep him coming along and maybe meaningful. I'm not trying to save the rest of the year, but I also don't want to be, foolish. And we just thought last game, he hadn't played. Let's throw him out, and all of a sudden he started making plays. And looks, he's a talented young player.
ECU over the last 2 weeks has put up over 100 points and over 500 yards in both games. What are they doing maybe differently over the last couple of weeks? They kind of got that side of the ball really going. What are they doing that can challenge the defense?
Yeah, and don't know other than watching them. They've not really changed, I don't think, significantly. Now, they did have a quarterback change. They have 2 really good quarterbacks there. And they went at both kids I knew. I looked at them when I was at my previous school as upper level recruits that were highly touted a little bit. So know their quarterbacks, and they went with a guy coming out preseason. I don't know. Early was putting up some numbers, had some turnovers. It looked like they went to their second guy, and he's gotten really hot. They're really good outside at receiver. They're going to do a great deal of pushing the ball down the field with tempo. Their coach is throwing their offense. It's got great background and pedigree, kind of tied in with the Ole Miss package of some things similar to what those guys are doing. A little bit of the air raid with some really good things in RPO and the run game. Excuse me. I think they run the ball much better than people think, but they're pushing the ball down the field. So in their RPO world, there's always a chance for a hitch to go into a converted ball or a running slant. It can be a 8 or 10 or 12-yard pass. It can pop for 20, 30, playing with a lot of tempo. Quarterback's playing well. Their receivers are some top transfer guys that got some talent. They went through a coaching change. I got a lot of respect. I know Coach Houston well. I know their defense coordinator has done a great job defensively. He's running the deal. You didn't see a lot of change, but you did see an uptick in their performance. And like I say, they've had 21, 28 points out the gate in the first quarter. They're playing really hot. So it's going to be a big challenge for our defense and our secondary and our ability to tackle and get them off the field.
You mentioned recruiting earlier. I know you were out recruiting on Friday. How has that gone given the success on the field? Do recruits really care about that? Are they looking at that?
Oh, they care. And it definitely, what I think the one thing that helps us as many young guys as we're playing. we talked about trying to build a thing through a lot of high school recruiting, and now that young guys are actually getting valuable time and valuable minutes, and then we got to do as we finish the season everything we can to keep as many of those guys in this day and age in the fold. We don't want guys to leave here and go be a support player somewhere else. If you're leaving, go be prime time. If not, let's stay here and see how far we can keep taking some of the young guys. So I think the success of last year's recruiting and those guys playing helps. It would help to have some better performance and win. We've had some great atmospheres with our crowds. Have been awesome. We've been well received as we go around. I think right now, we're sitting on maybe one commitment away from where we were. We've had a couple kids last couple weeks decommit. They've had some opportunities come their way where the zeros got a little bit bigger on paper from what they've said. We'll see if that's true, but all of a sudden, some guys that we thought were really good, some guys I think are going to venture into some Big 12 opportunities, and which is good. That's the type of guys you want to recruit, And I'm telling all our recruits, if no one's still recruiting you, we didn't recruit the right guy. We want guys playing so well that other schools are still calling them and challenging them. We're, fighting to keep those guys. So the class looks pretty solid. You got a couple weeks, and then, as the season wraps up, you see where we are in our bowl chase, and after that, then you got recruiting your team. And now in the recruiting world, December's not a live recruiting month for us to leave. It used to be you would go out. So we've used, I think we've got 1 day left of our fall evals that we can go see guys. And, the coaches actually worked Friday. Me and Coach Franks did some local stuff, just seeing some top guys we hadn't seen. And, of course, the weather got us. Some guys played on Thursday, and we could only go 1 day. So we were judging which day we needed to go. We practiced Thursday. So we went and saw some guys in their Friday workouts after their post game, or saw some games sitting out in the rain out there Friday night and it wasn't that bad. Wasn't that bad, was it? But yeah, it wasn't that bad. But it's good to be in the local schools, well received by those guys. Have had some guys on, had a few visits coming. And we're working really hard to try to figure out what are the remaining top high school guys we can get. And then how do we finish this class with the early signing day coming in December? You will have some guys sign early. You will have some guys sign late. At this time last year, we got several players after the first. And this year, the signing day last year was right before Christmas. This year, our signing day is December 4th, the first Wednesday. So the month of December, we're allowed to get kids on campus. The 1 week signing week's dead, but recruiting's a little bit different now. In January, we'll be out going to see guys, and you can actively have home visits with juniors. So our game's evolving, changing. Recruiting's a part of that. I think we're battling. I think we're sitting good. I think our staff does a heck of a job fighting for the guys and getting guys that we think fit. We're coming off of a strong year on paper recruiting-wise. We're coming off the strongest academic year that we've ever had. And that's not coming out yet, but we academically have done the best we've ever done. So it's not only getting the players, and we need to enhance and increase our talent and our roster, our size, and our abilities. But some of that is these young guys developing. Some of that is keeping the young guys. Some of that will be the next year's class. And some of that will be as we manage the portal, trying to keep the players that we want to stay with us. And then the best we can as we enhance going forward into next year. So there's a lot of flux going on right now with the lawsuits, the rosters, the scholarships. But our guys have battled. I think if you look at those charts, we're about in the middle of the league. And we're sitting mathematically, I think we're one off of where we were this time last year. And I like a lot of guys. And even the guys are battling. I'm kind of, our coaches are with them every week because you're fighting like heck to hang on to them because, nothing this day and age is kind of final till they sign for sure.
You mentioned all that. How much does your pitch change now compared to how it's been maybe in the past? You mentioned the zeros guys are getting thrown their way. Does that have to change the way you recruit?
A little bit, and we'll get to that, but we'll finally get, I think, coming in this cycle and not recruiting. The first thing we'll do, as in getting in here, we've yet to throw the NIL opportunity to some of our players. We've done a lot through our academic support. Like we've done a lot through the Case Fund, our Austin Fund, and cost of attendance. Our guys have done phenomenal school. We're getting ready with what's getting ready going on with our admin to start getting a little bit where we start to maybe have a little bit of investment with our team. And the first part of the team will be the kids that are on this team that we want to try to keep. We're not chasing a lot of recruits right now with saying, here's what you got if you come here, except here's our base scholarship, here's our Austin Fund cost of attendance, here's the package you're going to get. A year from now, a kid's not going to really sign a scholarship. He's going to sign a financial agreement, and NIL is, quote, a part of that. But as we get into the NIL world, we're going to start a little bit more trying to keep the core quality players that we got here. If we can keep those guys in the hands going forward, then we'll see what's out there for recruits. And we're several months away as this all kind of filters out. So it's a part of it. And at the same time, the one thing that we keep talking about is the value of playing early, the value of playing time, and the value of our education. So we've gotten a lot of top guys, and some guys have stayed with us. I mean, there's some guys in last year's signing class were offered more financial dollars than we had on the table. But they took the value of playing. Some of these guys I'm talking about are playing. So you just kind of keep selling what you're selling. It's a great city, great education, great opportunity. I think we got things going. I think everything's right except getting some victories and W's, which we need to get down the stretch. If we get that, I think we'll keep trending the right way and continue hopefully get this thing in strong footing as we go forward.
I think the bye week came at a good time this late in the year. Kind of one more final reset before the last 3 games of the season.
I think with the Thursday game, it was really good, because it's not a short week where you got to flip around. And I think, coming off of a little bit of run to get some guys a little bit healthy. So I think a combination now, if it had been waiting to next, I think the chance of being on Thursday night, playing a great team, having ESPN here, those are things I think that are exciting for the team. So I think it came where we got a chance to maybe get some things cleaned up, get some guys a little bit more healthy and fresh, but then also get prepared up for what I think is going to be a very strong opponent Thursday night.